Welcome to the Good Ride, a place where egos are permanently checked at the door. Today I'm talking about a personal favorite, a board I just straight up bought, the United Shapes Cadet LTD. And to give you a short summary, while it doesn't seem to have a lot of differences when you look online with United Shapes, this felt lighter, poppier, but still not too chattery and too bucky than the regular Cadet. Had all that great versatility and magic that the other Cadet had. And while the only place I could really flaw this would be the edge hold isn't as grippy in hard snow as some other boards, it's still competent though. And like I said about the regular Cadet, this board has two personalities. You set this up on reference, you get a pretty good directional free ride board. It can act like a big mountain board. You can even ride and switch pretty well. But then on those deep powder days, you can go way back towards the tail and get really easy directional float. And then on top of that, this has a much faster base than the regular Cadet. That's why I'm sitting here with this and reviewing it now, and I sold my other Cadet. Now, while I didn't get this in deep powder like I got the old Cadet, I got this in everything from some firm but fun spring snow, some midwinter snow, some perfect midwinter groomers, along with some midday messy tracked up snow. And for the first few times I rode it, I always brought out the regular Cadet. Same boots, same bindings, same runs, same turns, Ollies, butters in the same places to really get an idea of how these two compare. Then after that, I started bringing this out when I was testing other freeride boards. And this became my baseliner and the standard of which I wanted to compare other boards to. So while this is going to be a glowing review, this is truly an honest, objective review from an average rider's perspective with zero brand oversight. I barely have any communication with United Shapes. I really only got into these thanks to the good people at Mount Bachelor. So this really comes from an objective perspective. I can do that thanks to sponsors like Blower Board Shop. They're family run, they have a large online presence, excellent customer service, fast shipping, and competitive prices. But why you should support them is they've been selling to snowboarders for decades now, longer than most resorts have been allowing snowboarders. They're very deserving of your hard-earned cash. So if you want to support us and a great shop, click through our links to Blower Board Shop and buy something. Just make sure you watch our reviews so it's right for you. Now, when it comes to sizing, this 58 fits me really well. This seems like it would be a little bit on the wide side. This is not the case with this. This is the perfect size. Handles my weight, no problem. But if you're a 9 to 10 boot, this will fit really well with the 58. And I love this length for my height too. I just love the way this works, and I was really surprised at how well this width performed for my specs. Now, when it comes to shape, this is very directional, but not that tapered. So the nose is much bigger and longer than the shorter chopped tail. And then there's only 5 millimeters of taper, so it doesn't really feel that tapered, although it does feel pretty directional, especially when you're on those setback inserts. But if you set it up on reference stance, you're 2.625 inches back from center of board at 21.25 inches. If you want to set it all the way back for a powder day, or if you're just in a really directional freeride mood, which I found it does work well there too, you can get 5.5 inches back from center of board at a very reasonable 22-inch stance width. And that's a very special thing in comparison to almost every other freeride board I've tried, especially those with setback inserts. This just goes further back. It transforms this from more of a centered, big mountain feeling freeride board that can still turn quickly and have fun and mellow out if you want to being a really set back, directional, riding off the tail, surf style floaty board. It has two personalities. I love that aspect, and it truly makes this a special one board quiver, just like the Cadet. When it comes to the camber profile, this camber goes well past the inserts. almost to the tail, maybe just a touch of early rise before the tail, and then there's a mellow early rise before this long floating nose. It's not like full camber, it's very forgiving, but it has all the good points of camber. That consistent feel underfoot, that's stable, easy to one foot and flat base in all conditions. It never changes its personality on you underfoot, but then it doesn't catch very easy. Yes, it's better for advanced to expert riders, but I think a committed intermediate could have a pretty easy time with this. Now, when it comes to edge hold, this is one place where I'd love to see an improvement. So while I can ride on a hard day, I do have to dial back my turns more than some other boards. This is one area where I'd love to see it improve. Let's talk Cadet Limited Flex here. It's a medium stiff flex for sure, and there's something interesting about this versus the regular Cadet. While the flexes are similar in terms of stiffness, you can just push this in further and it has more snap back. So it is a much more dynamic, poppy flex without being too chattery and cranky. Now when you flex the nose, it's a little bit softer, and then as you leave the early rise area and come into the camber profile, it really stiffens up. And then from just a little above the front inserts down to the bottom, it's pretty stiff, but it might be in this region right here, just a touch softer. And overall, it's a very fun, poppy, dynamic flex that's definitely a step up from the regular Cadet. And when it comes to getting this in uneven snow, yes, it's a little more bucky, a little more bouncy, but it's manageable. It's not that much of a compromise for that much extra pop. When it comes to buttering, it's not the easiest to butter off the tail, but it's very doable. And in powder, when you're on the setback inserts, you can wheelie up pretty easy. And the nose allowed me to butter a lot easier, and it holds well on a butter because there's no lifted tech making the board wash out on the sides if you don't butter perfectly center in the nose and tail. Then when it comes to ollie power, it was a good bump up from the regular Cadet. It just popped easier into the air and made my average ass look better. Now, if you're on reference, this has lots of landing gear, and this tracks really easy into side hits and launches off them really well. It has upper tier pop, not exceptional pop, but manageable pop that doesn't get weird and buck and bounce you around too much. And you can land this switch, especially if you're set up on reference. It's not bad for riding around all day. If you dabble in the park but also want a great board for the mountain, you'll be more happy with the Horizon because it's more centered on reference and feels less directional, even though it's tapered and directional like this board. This isn't really a board I want to take in the pipe just because its edge hold is not in that highest tier. It's more like middle-ish tier, and it's not something I want to jib with either, but it has a decent mountain freestyle personality for such a directional ride. Now, when it comes to turning, this initiated a turn much, much faster than I thought it would for this width. My nines felt totally fine with this, and then getting off this and getting on narrower boards in same day tests, I didn't feel like this was much slower. And a lot of people ask me, even though I say this on the reviews, is this fast enough in the trees? Hell yes it is, especially if you're somebody like me that's only in the trees on powder days and you're on the setback inserts, even set up on reference. It's not that bad either, and it's very good for turning in steep, tight spots too. There are some better boards out there, but it's not bad at all. And when you get this board on edge and try to engage into a harder turn, the spring out of the turn is very good. And again, this just outshined the standard Cadet by a good bit. And this has a 7.7 meter side cut. I'm not sure if it's multi-radius or not. United Shapes is very vague with their specs, but I can make circle carves pretty easy with this. Not the best, but pretty easy. Across the groomer carves are great. Medium radius turns are great. And if I want to make longer, drawn out turns that start to pick up some speed, this isn't bad for being as turny as it is, and I truly enjoyed it. And it can sustain a straight line for a good period of time. The regular Cadet's a little better at speed, and there are a lot of other boards that can straight line faster and longer than this, but it's good for being this light and poppy. When it comes to base glide, never a fan of clear bases, but this base feels so much faster than the regular Cadet. I waxed up both of them, went out the same day, did a run, switched boards, did the same damn run, same boots, same binding, same stance location, same turns, and this just had so much easier glide. It kept its speed so much better, and it retains wax pretty well. I never waxed it again after this, and look at it. Here it is like 2 months later. It's still like not that dry, and it didn't get a lot of base burn, so this is a very good base for being clear. Let's talk powder. This is just like the regular Cadet, same shape, same stance location, same amazing setback inserts. That allows such easy directional float, especially with this small tail with a little bit of taper, 5 mil, and then a much bigger, longer, higher nose. I rode the regular Cadet in like thigh-high, super deep powder, and compared it against a lot of other really good powder-centric boards, and it was right there with them. This is almost as good as many dedicated powder boards that you only ride in powder and you put away. And that's truly what makes the Cadet and the Cadet LTD very unique. If you can only take one board on a trip, this is the one. This is amazing. So in conclusion, other than maybe not having the most competent edge hold, but good enough, this board just shines. If you're one of the lucky people who fits in the sizes that they have with this 54, 58, and 62, get this instead. That's what I did. I was so happy. I'd only get the regular Cadet if you see a lot of really thick, wet, messy, uneven snow. But as it stands, both of these are exceptional boards. This is going to take the favorite award, but the regular Cadet's definitely getting the consolation prize and stands above many other free ride boards out there. There you have it.